Hello book lovers. I am very excited for today's video because honestly, I don't want to say the only good thing in my life is reading books because it isn't, like that's just really dramatic, but reading books is just like this inner peace that I feel. So today's video, we are going to be reading my most anticipated new releases. I'm extremely excited about it. I think you're going to be extremely excited about it. I just like cannot wait to start reading these books today. So now I have all three of the books that I'm going to read in this video picked out already. These books, they're all like technically kind of like new releases. They've all come out in the past few months. First up, this is a book I don't physically own. It's on Kindle Unlimited. I'm not going to buy it right now. Eventually gonna buy the physical copy because I mean, like, come on, there's no way that I'm not gonna not buy it. And that is Wild Love by Elsie Silver. This, again, another like really anticipated release for me. Elsie Silver has not slowly actually, like she punched me in the face with becoming one of my favorite authors. Straight up punched me in the face when it came to the Chestnut Spring series. I now have to read the other series, like the pre-series to that one, like her first series that she wrote, but I'm excited for Wild Love. I've heard incredible things about this one, so I'm so excited. Next up, The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. Sarah Adams, again, one of my favorite authors. One of my favorite authors. She has me eating out of the palm of her hand anytime I read a book by her. Last two books, well granted the only two books, let me just say that. The only two books I've read by Sarah Adams, for me, have been a 5 stars. 5 stars. So I have full faith that this one's gonna be good. I've heard some mixed things about this one, so I'm kind of like anticipating like or waiting to see like what I'm gonna think of it because this one is a bit longer than her other ones. Really not by much though. Like this one's maybe like 100-ish pages, not even, maybe like 50 to 75 pages longer than her other two. I've heard that this one just kind of drags a little bit, so we'll see. We will see. Okay, but I'm very excited for this. I do love me a sports romance, and this is a football romance, obviously. It's sports romances for the win, honestly. And then the last book that we have, which I think is going to be the first book I read, is Funny Story by Emily Henry. And I'm not gonna lie, I am not an Emily Henry stan. I'm just not. And it has nothing to do with Emily Henry. She seems like a very wonderful, she's a very talented person. I feel really condescending when I'm saying this, but I promise I'm not being condescending. This is just who I don't know how to talk. Anyways, I'm just not an Emily Henry stan. Her writing style reads more literary fiction. I'm just not a literary fiction girly. I've heard good things about this one. I've heard this one definitely feels more like a romance book than her other ones, but I'm still skeptical. I'm still skeptical because her pacing of her books is so incredibly slow. Anytime I read one of her books, it just like takes me forever to get through and it like gives me that impression that I'm not enjoying it. Like if I'm reading a book really slowly, I'm just not into it. Clearly. When I'm speed reading, that's when I'm super into it. So the pacing of her books though make it feel like I'm not enjoying it. We'll see. I'm excited though because I've heard that the main character, Miles, is very Nick Miller-like, which I'm a New Girl stan, okay? New Girl till I die, honestly. And I feel like there's like this whole big thing about him wearing Crocs. I feel like that's very Nick Miller, and I love me Nick Miller. But I think I'm gonna start out with this one when I get home from the gym because I know this one's gonna take me the longest. I'm gonna stop rambling because this intro was too long. So I will see you guys when I start Funny Story. Okay, ignore any mess that you see. It's gonna live there. I literally just started. I am only on page 3, and I'm sure you guys kind of know like the gist. Like the book's been out for a little bit, and people like binged it and everything, so I'm sure you guys kind of know like what happens in the very beginning that leads to Daphne, and I know the main character's guy's name is Miles, to living together. So basically within the 3rd page, she talks about how he used to tell their story and how it was like this most magnificent thing. And then she says, but then his bachelor party happened and everything changed. The story tipped onto its side, found a fresh point of view, and in this new telling of it, I was no longer the leading lady, but instead the teensy complication that would forever be used to jazz up their story. Like, honestly, that really fucking sucks. Like, third page, and I like immediately was like, wow, that actually really fucking sucks. Imagine like someone, and I'm trying really hard not to spiel about this for too long. Imagine someone you're engaged to who literally every chance they got, every opportunity they could to tell the story about how they fell in love with you and how you met, to kind of just be almost fake. Because then she goes on to say, Daphne Vincent, the librarian that Peter plucked out of the trash, nearly married, then dumped the morning after his bachelor party for his platonic best friend, Petra. Like, imagine that happening. Like, I can't fathom, like, how much that sucks. Like, that is terrible, and I am feeling for Daphne already, just in this situation. But that sucks. I'm sorry. I don't want to go on any longer because I want to get through it. I literally am at the top of the third page. I'm going to continue reading, and if any other thoughts pop into my head while I'm reading, I'll update you guys about it, but I'm just gonna keep going. Ugh, I wish I had a remote for this thing. I am now on page 20 of the book. Honestly, people have been saying that they don't like Miles. And I'm only on page 20 and I'm like, okay, why is this man making me smile? I don't even know what it is. I think it's just literally the bare minimum of trying to be her friend is what's getting me. Like, he is like actively trying, and I just don't think Daphne realizes that that's what he's trying to do. Because in one of the previous chapters, he like asked her if he wanted to watch this movie with her, or if she wanted to watch this movie with him, and she was like, no, that's okay. And I think she's just like still being very like closed off and sad and kind of wallowing almost in self-pity from this breakup, where he is too, but I think he's also trying to cope with it with her, considering they both went through this together essentially, because the two people that they were with are together now. And this part was cute because I was just like, wait, what? And so like I don't know, sorry, now I'm blanking, but I'm like, no, he's actually like being like doing the bare minimum of being nice to try and be her friend, I think. Like, just at this moment, like, I think right now he's just trying to be platonically friends with her because they live together, and I think he just wants to, like, you know, have a friend to like go through this situation with, because she's the only one who could really understand what he's going through. So I think he's really trying to be her friend, and she's just kind of like not picking up the signals. Like, because this was cute. He asked like, you're working, and she's just like, yeah, like, what do you mean? He goes, do you want Thai? Like, does he mean that he's gonna bring her Thai to work so that she can have lunch? Or like later for dinner? Like, that's what she's even questioning. And she's like, I'm okay, thanks. And he goes, okay. The inner dialogue is, then he types some more and stops. I wonder if he's fishing for an offer to pick up aforementioned Thai on the way home. Anything else? I write back. He replies, I'll just see you when you get home. And she goes, strange. On Saturdays, he's usually in his room or out for the night by the time I get back. And I think literally he's just trying to be your friend and she's not picking up the signals. But honestly, that's super relatable to me because one of my really good friends, she apparently tried to be my friend for a good while and I just didn't notice. And I had no idea because I get so nervous and like don't think anybody ever wants to be my friend. And then when we finally became friends, she told me, she was like, no, Taylor, I literally tried to be your friend like 3 months ago. And I was like, you did? And she was like, yeah, it just seemed like you weren't having it. And so I kind of just left you be. And I was like, huh, I had no idea. So like, I actually love that. Like, that's super relatable to me. So far, I am liking it. I'm only 20 pages in, so I can't really say much, but honestly, this is like going better than I thought it was gonna go. I'm gonna keep reading. I just wanted to give you my little anecdote about that because I just think that it's kind of funny that he's literally, I think, just trying to be your friend and she's just not picking up. She's just not picking it up. To sit here and say I'm shocked is quite literally an understatement. Excuse me? How come she's popping off with this? Literally had me over here like thinking I felt bad in the beginning, being like, I'm not an Emily Henry stan. Girly pops, I'm not. But to say I'm shocked is literally the biggest understatement I could put on this channel right now. First of all, I actually have no words. I don't even know what I came on here to say. This book, she's popping. She's actually popping. I don't know. Granted, okay, I'm 150 pages in. I don't know how these other books are gonna follow up now, because I went into this one first thinking it was gonna be like 2-3 stars. But now I'm over here and she's almost reading as a 4.5, 5. Excuse me? Someone please explain to me how that's gonna work. I went into this with the lowest expectations, and now the other books that I'm gonna read for this video have to live up to this so far? Hear me out. We still got a ways to go, okay? I'm not even halfway through this girly yet, okay? Not even halfway through this book yet. So things could still go downhill. I don't have hopes for that. I don't want it to go downhill. Because when I say I am absolutely loving this right now, that I am actually eating out of the palm of Emily's hand, you'd be right. You would actually be right. Okay, so Miles and Daphne got me giggling. Emily Henry's banter has always been great. Always been good. Like, I've always enjoyed that about her books. I've always enjoyed how, like, the dialogue is so natural. Like, it's a legit conversation that you would have with someone and not like a forced, like, made up conversation that's like, this is not how people would talk in real life. Because if I literally word for word tried to have dialogue like this, it would feel so weird and icky. That, I don't get that in any of her books. So, especially in this one, dialogue, the banter, all of it, supreme, superb. Okay, the banter and the chemistry and just everything between Daphne and Miles is crazy. It's so freaking good. Oh my God. Like, if you don't like them as a couple, then I don't know what is wrong with you, because they're top tier at this point. They just, like, because of the situation they're in, they already understand each other so well. And I feel like that's just so great for their friendship that they're building right now, which is then, like, now leading into this, like, romance that they're gonna have. Because the whole, like, fake dating trope that's in there isn't really, like, absorbing the story. Like, the whole plot isn't about them fake dating. It's just, like, bits and pieces of, like, where their romance and, like, where their relationship is coming in. I love when the book isn't, like, so absorbed with the trope that it is. Like, I love fake dating, don't get me wrong, it's one of my favorite tropes. It needs to be done a certain way. It needs to be done where it's not like it's literally taking over the whole novel, and that the only reason this is happening is because it's being forced. You know what I mean? Whereas this, like, this is just such a natural thing that's happening, where it was like just a spur of the moment thing that Daphne said. And then, like, they both just, like, play into it. They're just, like, being funny and being goofy because they're friends, because they both are going through the same traumatic experience that they're bonding over. And I just love them. Okay, and first of all, I'm ready to throw hands, ready to fight anyone who says they don't like Miles. Excuse me, what's there to not like? The man is wonderful. The man is great. He has maybe, okay, he probably has more flaws than the one I'm thinking of right now. One flaw that isn't my favorite, but, like, Daphne literally asked him to stop and he did. The man is giving. The man is acts of service. She has me eating out of her hand. Okay, anyways, like I said, I'm still ready to throw hands for anyone who doesn't like Miles, because I love him. Like, from the moment he stepped on the page, they got me giggling and kicking my feet and, like, just, like, blushing. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about this now. Like I said, I'm 150 pages in. I think the book only has, like, 300, I think it's almost 400 pages, just short of 400 pages. So I'm a little less than halfway through. I honestly am gonna binge this. Like, I'm already binging it. Like, usually, like, her books take me forever to get through. Like, a whole week. Like, I genuinely think I would have finished this book either today or tomorrow if I didn't have a job. Or if I had started this on a weekend. If I had started this on a weekend and I had 6-7 hours to kill, this book would be over. That's how much I'm eating it up. I never eat up an Emily Henry book like this. All her stuff is too slow and just kind of boring. I'm loving it. Either way, I'm gonna be done with this, because I literally just cannot explain to you how shocked I am with how much I'm loving that. There's just no words. Okay, goodbye. I will see you, update you when I'm reading next. Hello you guys, I think it's the next day. Yes, I definitely updated you yesterday. Anyways, it's the next day. I'm about to go to the gym, but I wanted to update you before I go to the gym because 322 pages into Funny Story, like I said yesterday, I am shocked that I am loving this as much as I am. I am almost done with it. I think there's only like 70 pages left or something, like so close to being done. I am about to go to the gym, so I'm actually going to take my Kindle with me and start Wild Love while I do cardio because I'm just not gonna bring my giant book to the gym. I'm just not. So I'm gonna bring my Kindle. I'm gonna start Wild Love. I'm actually super excited. I love Elsie Silver. She is queen of romance, honestly, and I don't know anything about this other than the fact that he's rich and she comes back to town and it's his best friend's sister. Anyways, we'll see. I know that it's Ford Grant, who is Willa's brother, and she's from the Chestnut Spring series. I'm really excited about that because when he was introduced in that series, he seemed kind of like a fun dude. So we'll see how it goes. I think it'll be good. But then when I come home later, I'm gonna finish Funny Story because like I said, I can't believe how much I'm loving it. I only have literally like not even 10% left. Excuse me? Who am I? Who am I loving Emily Henry? Because that's just not me. But on another side note about that, literally, I have never been so excited to come home and read an Emily Henry book, ever. Like, literally, like, I was at work yesterday and I was like, I just can't wait to go home and read my book. With other books, that happens. But with Emily Henry, that never happens. Which is crazy. Crazy. Anyways, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna start Wild Love, and I'll update you once I get home. Okay, first things first, we're gonna ignore the little pimple patch I got here on my lip, okay? Probably wouldn't have even, what the heck? That wasn't English. You probably wouldn't have even seen it if I didn't point it out. Just in case you did see it, I wanted you to know that I knew it was there, okay? I know it's something that's there. I just finished A Funny Story by Emily Henry, and to say I am shocked. Genuine shock I feel. The genuine joy and excitement I had while reading this book is truly surprising. I really started out this video with going in thinking that this was going to be the worst one. I thought I was going to hard DNF it probably like 20-30% of the way in, being like, nope, the pacing's just too slow and I cannot keep up with it. Girly pops, I have been proven wrong. I don't know what it is about this book. This is by far already my favorite Emily Henry book. I have never related so heavily to a character, I feel like, before. Okay, I feel like that's a lie. I have related to a lot of characters I've read about, but Daphne's vulnerability and personality, like who she is, I definitely resonate with a lot, and I think that did something to me. Also, I just loved the two characters together. I loved Daphne and Miles together as a whole, like just in general. I think that they were a perfect pairing within this book. Like the banter, chef's kiss. The banter, the silliness, them getting each other right off the bat, the joking and the little inside jokes and the way that they could mess around with each other within conversation and just go with it and just play with it was amazing. And I loved that. Like sometimes I feel like in other books where it's like they're just like forcing these two characters to be together, whereas this one was just such a natural flow and such like a natural thing to happen in a sense. Like given the situation, this was such like a natural pairing of what was going to happen. Not to say that this would obviously happen in real life, but this is very much like a real life situation that could happen. And like, of course, like this type of relationship could be sprung from something like that. You know what I mean? So I feel like the realness behind that just in itself, I feel like makes the book a lot better. And then the book in general just was like much more rom-com-y than her last ones. Like her last ones, I really don't think were super rom-com-y at all. They were definitely more serious undertones, I felt like, with what was going on. Like granted, they both had like shit going on, especially from their childhoods and like things that they had to process and go through. The undertone elements of like what was going on, I feel like wasn't too much. You know, like wasn't too heavy. I feel like Happy Place was kind of like that, but I didn't really connect with Happy Place. I don't even really remember a lot about Happy Place. So this one just like felt so rom-com-y. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Don't know what I want to rate it yet because by the like middle-ish end, I don't want to say, not like in the middle, but the middle-ish of the end, basically. It started to kind of fall off for me. I know that this is going to be like a higher rating for me, and I literally cannot believe that I love this book this much. You guys, this is crazy. Like, this is legit crazy. Like, I'm not an Emily Henry hater. Like, don't get me wrong, but I was not a believer. I was not a believer. I was not a stan. I didn't understand the hype. She just wasn't it for me. This book is changing my mind. So I guess we'll see with her next book if she makes me feel the same way. But this, without a doubt, is my favorite Emily Henry book. Chef's kiss. You go, girl. Let's move on. So you know how earlier I said I was gonna go to the gym and I was gonna read while I was doing cardio? That didn't happen. Of course, I get there and no one's in the gym. So my friend who works at the gym was talking to me while I was doing cardio. Talked to him for 20 minutes and I was like, oh, well, that was all my reading time. So so I didn't end up reading anything, but I'm actually going to start this, not like this very moment, but I am going to start this now. I think I'm going to, what time is it? It's 2:30. Okay. I think I'm just gonna take my dog to the dog park and start this a little bit and then also go to the pool and read Wild Love by Elsie Silver. Anyways, yeah, I'm just gonna go read. Hello you guys, it's been a few days actually since I think I've updated you, so I actually ended up finishing Wild Love by Elsie Silver last night. To be quite honest, the whole reason, I think the main reason I didn't really do any updates while reading this book was because I didn't really love it, you know, and that actually kind of disappoints me because I love Elsie Silver. I love everything about the Chestnut Spring series, and this just like wasn't giving. I was like really bored the first like 25% of the book, and it didn't really like pick up until like about 50%. Granted, like certain books, like they don't really get interesting until like the couple starts getting together, whereas like other books where like the like really like slow burn effect where it's like every little like touch or moment with them is just like eating, you know what I mean? Whereas this, like, it was like that weird, like not even in between. It was just like weird because it was like no slow burn. It was like very much like direct, but like they weren't together, but then all of a sudden they were. I don't know if anybody else feels that way with this book. Yeah, I didn't really love it. It just like doesn't give like what Chestnut Springs had, like all of, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like, I shouldn't be comparing it. I don't know. There was just something about this that I just like didn't love. I will save my rating to the end because I don't know if it's gonna like change or not from like what I'm thinking from like what I rated it last night. Update you at the end when I finished the last book that we are reading in this video, which is The Rule Book by Sarah Adams. I'm so excited to read this because granted they were all fun little romances. How come I didn't even realize that I put the receipt from when I bought this book in here? But yeah, so I'm super excited to start reading this book. I'm gonna start reading it right now, I think, because I'm actually uploading a video as we speak. And if I don't keep my computer awake while it's uploading, it doesn't upload. Like it literally just like pauses its uploading if the computer's asleep. So I'm gonna sit here while this is going on. I love that she put it in here right at the beginning for the author's note. If you prefer to keep the bedroom door fully closed, please skip chapter 34. Which I love that she did because I know some people like read Sarah Adams for the fact that she is a closed door romance writer, which I love about her. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, I love me spice. I love me a spicy book. There's just something about like her writing that's just like it being like so silly goofy, but also being like romantic where it doesn't need that spice, you know what I mean? For it to still be really good and like love. So yeah, love that. The thing I like about this book already is the fact that she just like gets straight into it. She kind of, I think I've noticed she kind of does that with like all of her books, or at least the past two that I've read. I've only read One in Rome and The Cheat Sheet by her, which is the companion novel for this. Yeah, she kind of just gets right into the story. There's like no build up, which is kind of nice. You just get right into it and you learn everything that you need to know along the way. I'll update you along the way. You guys, it's the next day. I actually ended up getting to page 159 yesterday in this, and let me tell you, I'm eating this up. I am eating it up. There was a trope that just happened in here that I literally just got to that I didn't realize was in here. Like, I hadn't heard anybody talk about it or say anything about it. And I also didn't read the back of the book. Like, I like going into books as blind as I possibly can. You know, because I like to be surprised. And that surprised me. Like, I had a feeling something was gonna go down, like, at that moment for, like, what they said or for, like, where they were going. And I was just like, huh. Interesting. I am eating this up. Sarah Adams just knows how to make me feel so giddy while reading a book, even when it's like technically like an enemies to lovers. Like, they're not technically enemies because they are exes and he was just kind of being a dick because he was like, I'm just gonna be a dick because you hurt me, you hurt my feelings. I literally don't have anything else to say about it, but she just knows how to make me feel so giddy. And it's just like, it's so funny because this is just like a silly little rom-com that like literally is just so like just definitely, okay, well in my brain, literally just not how like these professional athletes like act with each other and that the way that they all talk to each other and like just like the dynamic family aspect of like what they all got going on. I'm like, that's definitely just like so over the top, like so unrealistic, but I think that's part of like that makes me like love it so much and that makes me so giddy because it's just like a silly little rom-com. You know what I mean? Like just a silly little goofy time. All that to say that I am loving this so far. Okay, I am loving this. I'm about to go to the gym and I am gonna bring this because I'm just going to the apartment gym. So I'm gonna bring this and I'm gonna read while I do some cardio because I might as well get some reading done while I do cardio. Yeah, we'll see how far I get because I can't believe I like couldn't put it down. I really couldn't put this down. And I just like kept going. And it's such a quick, like fast paced read. Like it just is like go, go, go. You know what I mean? Like things are just happening. I'm gonna go do some cardio. So it's either my eyes or for some reason, even though I know it's focusing on me, it like my face doesn't look focused. Okay, so last night I finished the rule book. You guys, this freaking ate. Okay, Sarah Adams never disappoints. I feel like I saw so many like mixed reviews about this one. Well, I mean, not mixed. I saw people like liked it, but they didn't like love it. And I'm kind of like, huh? Because like I loved this. Like I just thought this was so fun and stupid and giddy. Not stupid in like, oh, this was a stupid book or like in a bad way, like a good stupid, like, you know what I mean? Like just so like silly, goofy, giddy, like so unrealistic in certain aspects, but just so fun to like be in a book and like just to see the way that these like professional footballers like act and talk to each other is so unrealistic and just not true. Like I know that. This was just so silly, goofy, and giddy. Like I loved this. Like this was a slay. I really, really loved it. I'm usually not like a fan of second chance romances, okay? Kind of like, well, in the books, in real life, I'm a fan of second chances or whatever because I give people too many chances as it is. Anyways, like in books, I'm kind of like, no, like why are you giving them a second chance romance when like clearly they broke up for a reason? Well, the reason they broke up in this one and to get back together, very solid, very valid. But it wasn't a bad thing. Like the reason they broke up wasn't like a bad thing. It was good in a sense. For them at the time. Anyways, I loved this book. I absolutely loved this. Okay, Derek and Nora. Okay, Nora's just this silly, goofy, quirky little girl, right? That's how all of Sarah Adams' characters tend to be, the whole 9 yards. Derek was just, you know, like this guy, this professional guy who was like obsessed with Nora, obviously, because why wouldn't he be? And yeah, like it was just a silly, goofy, fun time. Silly, goofy, fun time. But that's gonna be the end of this video. Or like the end of the books that I'm reading for this video. So let's do a final recap on all of the books. Let me maybe change my positioning because I feel like this spot is just not it. You guys, I don't think I've talked to you enough about how much I absolutely love this tripod. Also, you just seem very crooked. That's strange. Anyways, okay, let me get my books. All right, so in this video, we read a total of 3 books. We read Funny Story, the rule book, and we ended up reading Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I read that one on my Kindle, obviously. First up, Funny Story. I must take back my words because I loved this. I loved this, okay? There's just no way for me to describe how embarrassed I feel by basically like shooting this book down before I gave it any shots. I'm just shell-shocked, okay? Let's just say that. I am shell-shocked about how much I loved this book. This truly read like a rom-com. Like I said, I'm so surprised. I'm so surprised at how much it truly read like a rom-com. The amount of times I audibly laughed out loud and giggled at like interactions between Miles and Daphne, like I just cannot believe how much I love this. And I know I can't shut up and stop saying that, but I am genuinely flabbergasted at it, okay? Genuinely flabbergasted. No other words. But yeah, so if you guys don't know what this one's about, which I should have said earlier, but I didn't. Anyways, if you don't know what this is about, if you've been living under a rock, this is about Miles and Daphne. Miles and Daphne end up living together because both of their significant others ended up leaving them for each other. Daphne's ex is now dating, or is now together and engaged to Miles's ex. They ended up having to move in together. Daphne needed a place to live, and Miles's ex-girlfriend ends up moving in with Daphne's ex, Peter. And they decide to create this little scheme of where they are dating to get back at them. They're like, we're gonna date. We're gonna pretend to date. We're gonna fake date. Something I do love about this though is that like that doesn't take over the entire book. Like there's obviously instances where they have to pretend that they're dating when they're like in front of or near Petra and Peter, who are the exes, but it's not like a super like dramatic or super like, I don't know how to explain it, just like over the top like fake dating. It's very much more of like a natural like, oh, they're adults dating scenario because they are 30 something. I think they're like 31, 32. Great age, by the way. Granted, I'm not that old, but great age. But there's so much more to it than just that, which I absolutely loved. Like I was saying, it doesn't like overwhelm or take over the entire plot of the story. Like that's just a little bit of a moving factor in the story, but it's not the whole thing. I ended up rating this one solid 4.25. I loved this book. Absolutely loved it. Now, have I thought about it a lot since reading it? Not really. Like I've thought about like a few little things, like Miles I've thought about. Like I loved Miles, okay? I don't know why people don't like him, but I absolutely love him. And then Daphne as well. I feel like I really heavily related to Daphne, but not to an overwhelming extent of where like I think about her all the time because we are so similar. Like we are very similar, I would say, but definitely not to a point where I'm like obsessed with her and being like, oh my god, like I resonate with this character so much. You know what I mean? That was a funny story. I gave it a 4.25 stars, which is just so surprising. Honestly, so surprising. Like I was not expecting to come out of this video and this be honestly one of the favorite of the video. And then next up, we ended up reading Wild Love by Elsie Silver. I'm not gonna lie, this one was disappointing. Just disappointing. Not that it wasn't good, not that I didn't like it, I didn't love it. I liked it to a point. I was just like, I think I just set my expectations so high because I love the Chestnut Spring series. The Chestnut Spring series just hits different. This just wasn't giving. I'm not like obsessed with Ford either, the way that everybody else seemed to be obsessed with Ford or anyone who like really and genuinely enjoyed it. I don't know, I guess maybe because it's the first in like the series that Rose Hill just isn't giving me like the small town Chestnut Springs vibes, you know, Chestnut Springs was giving. So maybe throughout the other books, like in this series, it will give kind of more small town vibes, which I was kind of really hoping to expect, but otherwise, yeah, it just didn't give. Like Rosie was okay. She was kind of a brat, which is fine. I don't want to say that's fine. She was just kind of a brat, which was like just part of her personality. I understand the whole like childhood enemies, but they weren't. Like they were just like, it like kind of made sense. I don't know, now I'm just rambling. It kind of made sense into the way that they were like as kids, like the brother's best friend also giving shit to the little sister if the older brother was also giving shit to the sister, you know what I mean? Like as kids, but to like continue that into adulthood, the way that they were acting was kind of like just back as being like children, which is acknowledged, I will say. So it's not like this thing that's just like not acknowledged. Like they are very much like, oh, seems like the old us, like from when we were kids type of thing. But I just didn't love it. Like the first 25%, I was so incredibly bored. Like it just was slow moving. Like it just like did not pick up the pace. And then once it started picking up with the characters and the relationship, that's when I got more invested, more interested. Otherwise it just didn't hit. I think I ended up giving this one a 3.25 stars. Kind of forgettable. I kind of hope that the other ones in the series are better. That's kind of all I have to say about it. I didn't love it. Didn't hate it though. I do have faith for the other ones. I do love Miss Elsie Silver. But yeah, this one also, not that it seemed unrealistic, but some of the scenarios that she put them in, I feel like seemed a bit more just like unrealistic for her tastes, you know what I mean? That's all I'm gonna say on that. And then the last book, which I just talked about, which was the rule book. Like I said, did I say what I gave it? Okay, I gave this one a 4 stars. Honestly, solid 4 stars. Like, I loved it. I do not think I'm gonna think about this though much after reading it, but I absolutely loved it. Like, I had such a great time reading it. I read it so fast. That wasn't, I was doing quick and fast. So I read it very quickly. The pacing was super fast, which is great. This was such an easy read. Like, I could literally just binge it and go. Like, if I didn't have to work, or if the time frame that I actually started reading this, I probably could have finished this in like a day and a half, maybe a day, you know? Because I think the first day I got over 100 pages in and I was eaten. This was eating, okay? So yes, I loved it. Just like the banter, the quirkiness. And this is the thing. If the entire book is very like almost unrealistic in the way that it's set, or like the dialogue or the scenario and the characters and the way they act is very unrealistic, then I'm into it. Like, then I love it, because at least it's not hiding the unrealisticness that is in it, because they just play into it. Like, Sarah Adams really plays into that, like it being just a silly little rom-com, you know what I mean? She really plays into it, and I think that's like what makes it so fun and like easy to read and not cringy, because she plays into the unrealisticness of everything about it. Yes, like I said, solid 4 stars. Absolutely love this book. I think, like, if you haven't read it, you need to. Haven't read this one? You need to. Give them all a shot. That is it for these books and everything I'm going to talk about, because that's it. I don't have anything else to say. I don't know how I still don't know how to end videos, and I've been doing this for quite a while. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I had a fun time. I hope you did too. Don't forget to follow me on all my, did I say that already? I'm gonna say it again. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to follow me on all my social medias, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.